Hello, my name is Kevin Sands, and this is the Group 5, Module 5 Current Event Video Project. Today we'll be discussing workplace behavior as it pertains to Amazon's workplace. Business Dictionary defines workplace behavior as a pattern of actions and interactions of the members of an organization that directly and indirectly affect its effectiveness. Workplace behavior can be broken up into three parts: performance behavior, withdrawal or dysfunctional behavior, and organizational behavior. Today we'll be discussing the performance behavior portion of the workplace behavior. Performance behaviors are the actions or inclinations of an individual in an organization that determines how the individual and ultimately the organization is performing. In a more watered down version, they are the behaviors that determine productivity. Productivity cannot be achieved without individual job performance, which is made up of task performance, citizenship behavior, and counterproductive behavior. There is something to be said for a workplace of high achievement. However, Amazon has taken that mantra to a whole new extreme. They've embraced a sort of Darwinian office culture that causes tremendous turnover and increases childish and other petty negative behaviors. Now, what do I mean by Darwinian culture? I mean that Amazon takes on a only the strong will survive approach to their workplace culture. Amazon pushes their employees harder than they have ever been pushed in order to achieve high performance, and thus they weed out those engaging in low performance behaviors such as slacking and poor time management. This has prompted childlike behavior and mildly cutthroat types of behaviors from their employees, doing everything from forming cliques in the office to making faces at a coworker they don't like. Amazon evaluates their employees shortly after big life events as well, such as maternity leave and even horrific ones such as recovering from a life-threatening illness. This has caused a very tense and coercion-based environment that pushes strict performance behaviors. Next is Loretta with the withdrawal and dysfunctional behavior portion.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm Loretta Arrington, and in this presentation, I will be discussing withdrawal and dysfunctional workplace behaviors. The textbook describes withdrawal, work-related behavior, that which results in withdrawal, absenteeism, and turnover. Absenteeism occurs when an individual does not show up for work. According to research study performed at Penn State, work attitudes and job motivation, just as it is commonly assumed that a happy worker is a productive worker. It is also assumed that an unhappy worker is almost likely to be an absent worker. While we have all worked with that employee that, like clockwork, will be absent on a Friday or a Monday, I rarely see them become so unhappy that they leave the company. Absenteeism affects departments' employee production time and money during any absence. Absenteeism does include earned time off, such as vacations, maternity leave, FMLA, and holidays, all of which still affect the company's overall performance. Turnover, though, occurs when people get fired, laid off, or quit their jobs. I've worked for previous companies with high turnover rates, mainly due to the job demand of the position, work hours, pay, or just the location. A high turnover rate is costly for a company because each employee is an investment. It may also be a sign that there is something wrong within the company causing the turnover. While some employees leave, others stay and release their frustrations with dysfunctional behaviors. To some degree, every organization works within some dysfunction. Like regular households and families, there is always that uncle or aunt that's a little dysfunctional. It may not be enough to fire someone over, but just enough to cause problems among the ranks. These behaviors distract from rather than contribute to organizational performance. Examples of this childish behavior was written about in the Money Watch article by Bruce Kennedy titled "The Rise of the Childish Workplace Behavior." Surprisingly, about the professional culture of Amazon and the office dysfunction. As described in the article, around a third said they've come in contact with office cliques, as well as rumors being spread about coworkers and other employees about being targeted for pranks. These type of behaviors can be costly to an organization in lost production, absenteeism, turnover, and turnover. Next, Kaylee will discuss workplace behavior and how it affects organizational behavior.
Hello, my name is Kaylee Barnes, and I am going to be discussing organizational citizenship and how it relates to workplace behavior. According to the textbook, organizational citizenship is the behavior of individuals that makes a positive overall contribution to the organization. Organizational citizenship is a part of workplace behavior that helps make the organization run effectively. It is important for companies to recognize organizational citizenship and reward this type of behavior to ensure that it continues. It is also a characteristic that companies strive to find in their employees, but it can be hard to achieve because it begins with individual employees' views of the company and how they associate with it. For example, Amazon is gaining a horrible reputation in regard to organizational citizenship within the company and how they deal with their employees. Instead of encouraging their employees to help each other and work towards a common goal, they do almost the exact opposite. An article from Business Day states, at Amazon, workers are encouraged to tear apart one another's ideas in meetings, toil long and late, and are held to standards that the company boasts are unreasonably high. By encouraging this type of negative behavior, Amazon is going to have a very hard time developing organizational citizenship within their employees. Even though this way of doing things is producing innovative results for the company, is it the right way of encouraging behavior? Even though the company is thriving, the turnover rate and the negative experiences of previous Amazon employees will eventually hinder their organizational effectiveness. The more common way of acquiring this particular behavior is for companies to make their employees feel valuable and encourage them to identify themselves with the organization. If an employee feels connected to the company that they work for, they are much more likely to exhibit organizational citizenship. For example, it would be no big deal for a veteran employee to help a new employee get settled and fully understand their job responsibilities if they themselves identify with the organization and share its need to be successful and effective. It will not feel like extra work for these employees to go above and beyond their normal task load in order to help someone else out. In conclusion, Kevin discussed performance behavior, Loretta discussed withdrawal and dysfunctional behavior and how that can hinder organizational effectiveness, and I finished with information on organizational citizenship. We have learned that in order to encourage positive workplace behavior, a company must maximize performance behavior and organizational citizenship, and they must minimize withdrawal and dysfunctional behaviors to the extent that it is within their power. If they are able to achieve these things, then their company's organizational effectiveness will benefit greatly. But this can prove to be a difficult task due to the fact that most of these behaviors directly relate to the different personalities and attitudes of their employees.